Welcome to Pep Talk and Pickleball, the podcast where we explore empty nest life, health, fitness, and nutrition, all with a side of pickleball fun. I'm your host, Jill Lewis, your guide through this exciting phase of life. As a certified faster way to fat loss coach and fellow empty nester, I'm here to share insights, interview experts, and yes, sprinkle in some pickleball talk. Join me for weekly doses of motivation and laughter as we navigate health, happiness, and pickleball passion. Grab your paddle, join the conversation, and let's dive into Pep Talk and Pickleball. Welcome back to the podcast. This is your host, Jill Lewis. Thank you for joining me once again. This week, I am going to be telling you all about my fabulous trip to Costa Rica with the Faster Way to Fat Loss. This was a retreat for top coaches in the company, and it was hosted by our founder and CEO, Amanda Tress. It was at her home in Costa Rica. It was amazing, had the best time. There was 10 of us coaches there, and we were pushed out of our comfort zones for sure. We did a lot of collaborating, just a lot of discussion about the industry as a whole. We talked about how we can better serve our clients and how we can get our message to more women. Because, really, if you think about it, the fitness industry has a bad reputation, and it should. It was well earned from all of the mixed messages, the wrong messages that were out there, the work out more, kill yourself in the gym, all that kind of stuff, the eat less, the 1,200 calories, no carbs, all this cardio, nothing was really that I am aware of. And I worked in the gym industry most of my adult life until the Faster Way, which I found in 2018. The company's only like 8 years old, I think. But, until I found the Faster Way, I thought, I felt guilty. I'm doing something wrong. This is on me. Why can't I figure this out? I'm doing all these exercises. I'm eating bare minimum food here. What is wrong? Why am I not getting that toned look that I was after? Why am I still having dealing with belly fat, that kind of stuff? That was what really was taking me off. And until I found the Faster Way, then it was okay, we've been misled, So it's always a pleasure to go to these types of retreats or coach conferences and get with like-minded women. And we all really kind of put our heads together, how can we make a bigger impact? Because that is really what the Faster Way is here to do. It's here to make an impact on women's lives. Of course, this is my job. Of course, this is something that it's my career path, which means that's how I earn my income. But I can tell you that all of these women have such a heart to serve, me included, and that we really want to change the lives of women. And for me personally, I know that when I change your life, that has a ripple effect in your family, in your friends, in the circle around you. So that's what I love, because when you change a female's life, she's an influencer in her circle, in her family. And so you change her life, that's going to change the life of potentially her children, her spouse, her grandchildren, her sister, her coworkers. And I find that so exciting. I love to think about the impact that little old me here in Southern Illinois is making, around the country. And so to go to a retreat like this with like-minded people is just the best. We were actually on the Papagayo Peninsula in Costa Rica. If you are familiar with Costa Rica, it was my first time ever going. It was beautiful. It's actually the rainy season, so everything was super lush and green. And it did rain the first day and a half, but that didn't bother me at all, because I really wanted to dig into the content of our jobs, being a coach, how we can improve ourselves. You have that time with Amanda, who's such a genius. Really and truly, the passion for helping prevent disease, helping women to feel and look their best, and coupled with her amazing knowledge of marketing is really why you want to be there. And so I love digging into all of our sessions. And then, of course, she really pushed us physically we had a challenge every day that we were there, the 3 days, and then ate incredible food. It was an amazing time. And then, like I said, the scenery was just out of control. So I did know one of the coaches, and our COO was also there. And I'm friendly with her as well. And I've met Amanda several times, but really 8 out of the coaches I did not know. I know of them, but I didn't know personally. So I was really excited to get to know them. They were amazing. And I met my roommate who I'd never met before, and she was wonderful. So I feel like I have a lifelong friend from that. And it was really fun. So the first day, I had to get up super early because, I live in the middle of nowhere. So I got to drive 2 hours to an airport. And then I have to, take that plane from St. Louis to Dallas. And then you have a layover there. And then actually, it was a really short layover there. And then it was a 4-hour flight from Dallas to the airport, the Liberia airport in uh, Costa Rica. So flew into there, and then this was so cool. So they had told us, hey, we're going to have somebody meet you when you get to customs. They'll have your name on a sign. Get to customs. I didn't even know this was a thing. This is how, and I feel like I'm pretty well traveled, but I had no idea. So it was an expedited situation to get through customs. We was able to skip the whole line because there was a pretty significant line at customs. And if you've traveled out of the country, you know what I'm talking about. That can be a huge bummer. You've been on this long flight, especially if you're traveling different time zones. You're like, are you kidding me? Which, by the way, side note, Costa Rica was only an hour behind. So that was really nice that the time zone thing was not a big deal. So I get up, meet the lady, and she has my name and takes me to the front of the customs line. Boom. Or it was like a special line that had no one in it. Gave the guy my passport. He said, what's your occupation? And I tell him, I'm a fitness and nutrition coach. Boom, boom, and we're done. And so that was amazing. And then we had a driver take us to Amanda's home where we could get in there and get unpacked, and immediately met my roommate. So her home, by the way, is incredible. It is several buildings actually on this property, all right close to each other. So you've got the top building had towards the back of the property. It's kind of more of like servants' quarters, the gym, the laundry, all of that. Then you've got where like 4 bedrooms in a row. And then the next building down had several bedrooms. And then the main building was the kitchen, the incredible dining room table that she had custom made. It was gorgeous, and a really adorable, just cozy, but sophisticated living family room area with a TV, and then an infinity pool that overlooks the bay. And I mean, stunning. And there's just green space all over there too. So super nice. So immediately got the bathing suit on, and we got whisked off to her beach club, and we met out by the pool because some of the coaches were already there, visited. And then she's like, hey, let's go check out. Oh, and she got us a smoothie, which was delicious. And then she said, let's go check out the hot and cold plunge. And we're like, okay. So we did the hot and cold plunge, which is, have you ever done that? I've done it before. It's not my favorite. I'm just going to say that. It is not my favorite. 1, I absolutely hate being cold. 2, I do have Raynaud syndrome. I'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute. So it's very uncomfortable for me to get in extreme weather, like cold weather. But I still did it because I'm a team player. So we get into this, cold plunge. Well, there's like a hot tub, and then there's the cold tub. And I mean, these are really big. So you could fit 6, 7 people in each one. So the big thing for hot and cold plunges, okay, so you alternate between the two, is the improved blood flow. So the hot part of the contrast therapy, like a sauna, it shrinks your blood vessels, which brings the blood closer to the organs. And then when you step into a cold plunge, the blood vessels open up again and circulate through the body. So the constricting effect of the hot and cold water helps with inflammation caused by health conditions like diabetes, even cancer. It can also provide joint pain relief, which is super cool. A lot of people do this. Well, you've seen athletes get into an ice bath, right, to reduce inflammation. Muscle recovery as well. So the cold immersion helps the athletes recover from intense training and competition, reduces muscle soreness. And then the hot part of the contrast therapy helps nourish the muscles after the workout so they can heal and strengthen. It's also supposed to help you with your sleep. So cold baths before bed can improve sleep quality by releasing hormones that promote relaxation. Okay, so I would have never known that. I would have thought for sure a hot bath would have done that. But the alternating hot and cold temperatures can also help you relax and get into a deeper sleep. It's a great stress reliever. When you alternate between the hot and cold temperatures, it relieves stress. The hot and cold technique can also speed up fat burning and potentially increase weight loss. And my favorite, it boosts happiness. Cold plunges can trigger the release of mood boosting neurotransmitters, which can make you feel happier. I mean, what is better than that? Am I right? So that was pretty cool to do the hot and cold. So this is how we did it. It was recommended to us that we go 3 minutes in the hot plunge and then 1 minute in the cold plunge. And you do that 6 times. So that's what we did, or not all of us, but you know me, like as soon as someone tells me that, I'm like, okay, challenge accepted. I am a very competitive person. And so I was like, I will be doing this. I can't say I love it, but I did feel accomplished. And I mean, I had got up at, my gosh, crazy early in the morning, and I felt pretty good energy wise. Like I definitely did need coffee to keep me going that day. I did keep my fingers out of the water because of the Raynaud syndrome. So Raynaud syndrome is like an extreme reaction from your body to cold temperatures, and it reduces the blood flow to your extremities. So the blood vessels in your hands and feet, they just react too strongly to the cold temperatures or stress. It's kind of like all of that, like the blood flow goes to the core of your body when you're really cold, and it's just like an overreaction. So my hands get, like, my fingers up here, basically like this part. If you're on YouTube, you can see this, but the top third part of my fingers will turn white. They look like they're dead digits. Like I've lost them, like it's gone, and it's numb. And the same thing will happen to my toes where they get really numb. Then once the feeling comes back, it's like a real prickly, uncomfortable feeling. And it even kind of swell, like my toes, especially. It doesn't really hurt my fingers, but it does hurt when the feeling comes back. It's just kind of prickly, but it does hurt my toes when the feeling comes back, and they get swollen and really red and it's almost like it feels rashy. You know what I'm saying? So several years ago, I was like, what is happening with I used to walk my dogs. This is before I was in Florida in the winter, obviously, but I would spend a lot of time, like I would take my dogs for walks, and it could be 20, 30 degrees, but I really thought bundle up. It's not a big deal. But my feet were always, and my hands were always the parts that were miserable. And of course, I'm wearing gloves and everything. But when you're walking with your socks, you have your socks and shoes on. And I always remember feeling that, like with my toes, so uncomfortable. But then at night, I didn't know what was going on. It was almost like this is so gross, but it was almost like my toes felt like they had athlete's feet. And I kept talking to my doctor, who's a friend of mine, like, I think I've got like athlete's feet. This is so weird. Like, I don't know how. And I was buying special air wicking socks. I was making sure that I'm taking my socks and shoes off as soon as I finished working out. I mean, I was doing all these things, and finally realized, I went to a podiatrist, and she's like, you have chilblains, which is like a whole thing. And basically that's just it's a reaction, my skin, reacting to the Raynaud's in those extreme temperatures. So it's very rashy, very uncomfortable on my feet. So the bottom line is your girl does not want to be cold. It is an uncomfortable thing. So I keep my fingers out, but my toes were fine, but I kept my fingers out of the water when I was doing that. So must be something that runs in the family, because I do have my aunt, and I've got a couple of cousins that also experience that. And I guess it's kind of like an autoimmune thing. So who knows? Anyway, since I've been in Florida, I'm really never in cold weather anymore. It's so much better. And side note, it can happen like if I'm in the grocery store and I'm in the freezer section, I've had it, make my fingers go white. So it's so weird. Anywho, we did that. It was a lot of fun, just fun hanging out with the girls. Then we returned to her home to get ready for our first dinner. So got ready for our dinner, which was at a seafood restaurant that was amazing at the Four Seasons property, which is not far at all from Amanda's home. And I mean, what is better than the Four Seasons? They just always do it right. So I had sea bass there. We had all these amazing appetizers. My favorite was there was an octopus appetizer that was delicious. I know that's so weird that I like octopus, but I really do. Anyway, but just fantastic food, great conversation, and everyone was exhausted because everyone had been up early traveling. And so the next morning, we started our meetings at 7 a.m. sharp, and, we were off and going. So it was a rainy day on that day. So it was great because We were in meetings, meetings, meetings. We had so many different little sessions that were perfect. And then we went over to her beach club, went into her workspace, and all just great conversation with these sessions. Then we had lunch or brunch at her beach club, and I had what did I have? I had an omelet. It was fantastic. We had a bunch of appetizers too. We then did what's called a ropes course. So every coach group, so we were like the third coach group that's come through, the top coach group to come through this coach retreat. And so I'd kind of seen, I kind of knew what to expect, but if you're afraid of heights, you would have hated it. It's just weird, getting up there and you're like the first apparatus that I walked across, I thought, okay, you got this. A little bit of a Lamaze breathing situation, but it was really fun. So glad we did it. I totally enjoyed it. We got drenched because it poured down rain on us as we were walking towards the ropes course, and which was just hysterical. So you can't, I mean, when you're soaking wet and you're trying to walk across, climb across a ropes course up in the trees, I mean, how can you not laugh? Like, it's so funny. So I just loved how low maintenance, everybody was. We actually had dinner that evening at Amanda's house. So she had her personal chef, her family chef, prepare this amazing meal for us. I think it was chicken and all these veggies and rice. And I mean, there was just so much amazing food there. So we did that. And then we all hung out and visited afterward. So fun. And then the next morning, got up at like 5:15. I think we had a photo shoot that started by 6 in the morning. And so that's always fun to have some, for me, I mean, I'm posting on social media all the time. I'm always trying to have some content, visual content to share my message with my social media followers, to share my message to them, and help them get to know me, but really share the message for people that I'm really wanting to help you. So I'm always looking to grab someone's attention with some, visually as well as the messaging coming from me. So it was great to have this photo shoot, that'll help the faster way. It helps me and all the other girls. So we did some individual photos, we did some group photos. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably already seen a few. So our guy, Paul, who's heads up our social media for the faster way, he did a fantastic job. He was so much fun. I always say he's like my number one hype guy in the faster way. And then we went on a hike. Now listen, this hike was, when I say hike, you're thinking, oh, we're walking through a path. And no, we are on a staircase. It's like an outdoor open air staircase for most of the time. Up, 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 down a little bit, up, 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 up. I mean, you're just climbing stairs. And my heart rate was up. But I thought, you know what? I am keeping up with Amanda. Like, she is not getting out ahead of me. I am walking with her. Here we go. So kept the pace really well. We ended up at the beach and we all took a couple of pictures there, and then we turned around and went back. So it was great. It was really fun. And then after that, we went to, where did we do? Oh, we went back to the beach club. We had brunch at the same restaurant, but this time I got like a protein power bowl. This is like my favorite way to eat.